Ladies and gentlemen of the Leadership Roundtable, it's an honor to present to you and welcome the Right Honorable Tony Blair.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Please, go on, please. Thank you all very much indeed. That's immensely kind. Actually, I wasn't able to hear Jeff's introduction, so I suppose it must have been nice. Thank you. Actually, I tend to find that people are nicer to you once you've left office. So, and it's a real honour and pleasure to be here for this National Leadership Roundtable on Church Management, and to say to Jeff in particular, congratulations on having originated this and having given it such extraordinary leadership by example. Jeff's a remarkable person that I got to know since leaving office. It's one of the good things, actually. I mean, there are many good things, but one of the really good things is you get to meet new and interesting people, and Jeff Boise is one of the most interesting, most exciting, and actually I think one of the best people I've met since leaving office. So thank you, Jeff, and thanks for all you do. It's great to be here in Philadelphia for my very first time. I've never been here before. I discovered an interesting fact that may be slightly undiplomatic to mention. But in the days, if you recall, of the British Empire, this was apparently the second largest city after London. So there you go. But I'm sure it's happier as it is today. I also just wanted to say a word too about my sense of personal happiness and pride of being a member of the Catholic Church today. This is obviously, for me, was a very personal journey, and I'm a very new member of the church, but I've felt ever since coming into the Catholic Church a sense of homecoming. So it's for that reason as well. It's a pleasure to come and address you here today, and to address you on topics to do with leadership and communication, of which I have some experience. Whether I have any wisdom or not, time will tell. I had I think the first point that I really wanted to make today is that, I mean, both leadership and communication are tough. Well, there's an insight for you in today's world. Sometimes people say to me, particularly in America, because people used to watch Prime Minister's questions here quite a lot, and occasionally people say to me, do you ever miss it? And I always say that's like asking someone who's been on the rack for 10 years whether they'd like to do a bit of stretching. So the short and simple answer is no, I do not miss it. Actually, it's an interesting thing though that you can find that it still has, because that was perhaps one of the most difficult times of communication in the schedule of the Prime Minister, and there was when you're the Prime Minister, you have a member of Parliament who kind of looks after you in Parliament, and it's called your PPS, and every Wednesday morning at 3 minutes to 12, he would come and get me from the little room I had just outside of the House of Commons chamber to lead me along to the House of Commons chamber. And some sense of how I used to feel on this occasion can be expressed best by saying that this man, who is a lovely man, he's one of my best and dearest friends. The trouble is, even now when I see him, I say to him, you just kind of make me feel depressed, really. And I never got over, even now, at 3 minutes to 12 on a Wednesday, there's that slight chill that comes upon me. And really, the starting point of any strategy for communication or any attempt at leadership is to understand that the world, in my experience, divides into two. There are the doers and there are the commentators. And the doers end up taking positions of leadership, and the commentators end up commentating on those doers. And, you know, just recently I've been rereading the letters of St. Paul. And when you do that and you study the development of the early church and St. Paul's leadership of it, you understand it was a tough business even back then. And people were subjecting him to constant criticism, constant commentary, and he was having to try both to lead in those circumstances, but also to communicate with people as to what his leadership was about, what he was trying to do, what the early church should be trying to achieve. And if it was difficult then, the context in which we try to communicate today is not merely separated by almost 2,000 years of history, but is separated by a different planet, almost, of technology, of means of communication, of ways that people interact with each other. We have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week media today that is, let us say, a little harsh, occasionally brutal to be in as an environment. It tends to work today more by scandal and by impact and by controversy than it does by simple news, the simple regaling or telling of news. And that affects every single institution in the modern world. So really, whether it's somebody operating in the world of politics or business or in the world of faith, that environment and that context is dramatically different from anything the world has experienced before. And it does hugely increase the toughness of the experience of